Hello, everybody. This is Module 5 for EDL 856, Understanding My Community. And again, I work at Liberty Middle School here in Pratt at USD 382, and my name is Stephanie Thompson. Known customs and traditions within our school community. I think Liberty Middle School is a great place. As maybe some of you remember, I went to school here myself as a middle schooler. I was born and raised in Pratt, so I feel like this assignment was a little bit easier for me to do, knowing the community that I grew up in and now that I'm teaching in. I think we have a high focus on student participation and achievement. Our staff functions as a team to best serve our students. We have a ton of parents that help within our building, and parent involvement is extremely high. Students are involved in many different things, from athletics to clubs to geography bees and spelling bees and all sorts of different activities that we offer. Students know what is expected, and the rules are most genuinely followed. Obviously, we have our days with some discipline issues, but most of our students know what we expect and do their best to follow what we want them to do. Our upperclassmen are amazing, and they lead by example. We formed a junior leadership team several years ago, and they help us make decisions throughout our building. Change for our staff is challenging. We have teachers here that have been here a very long time. We have first-year teachers as well, but we all know that change is necessary to see growth both within ourselves and within our students as well. The population characteristics, for the most part, our classes have a pretty even mix of male and female. Although our 8th grade class that is leaving our building was huge this last year, we will be welcoming in a smaller 5th grade class, but even still, gender is pretty equal. Pratt Regional Medical Center is our highest employer in the community, followed by Pratt Community College and then USD 382 in that order. We're not a very diverse community. 12% of our student body are Hispanic, and that is the second largest nationality within our schools. Our communication, how do we communicate? I think as I kind of looked at some others that had gone before me here, everybody seems pretty similar. They function and communicate through their school website. We use Alert Now a lot here in our district by sending out both text messages and all calls, depending on if it's a district-wide, if it's just for staff, or if it's building specific. We use Alert Now a lot. We also use Facebook, Twitter, and I failed to put Instagram as well. Email amongst school employees is kind of how we communicate amongst the buildings and the 3 different buildings in the district as well. Like I mentioned, Alert Now is probably the one that is the most successful for us. We can target a specific group of people that we want it to go out to. We can do it district-wide. And I know some of the buildings, the elementary school uses Alert Now a lot, like daily, if not a couple times a week. The middle school doesn't use it as much, but we do it often as an entire district. We get lots of all calls through Alert Now. We use Facebook, but we also hear the scuttle that a lot of people don't have Facebook, or that shouldn't be our mode of delivery. So Facebook is helpful, but it doesn't reach everyone all the time. Community groups that make an impact in our schools and also in our community here is our Greenback Booster Club is huge at supporting athletic teams and clubs. We have a PTO at our elementary school. We have district site council that's made up of stakeholders and parents alike. Obviously, our school board. Greenback alumni has a huge following, which obviously helps in many ways here in our community. Faculty and staff are involved in numerous different things. It's not just their job. You can see us out and about at all the other things, including churches. We have a program called Circles that helps our impoverished community here in Pratt, and they do an outstanding job of including themselves in our schools. Faculty plus parent, which would be us, me. I'm a faculty member plus I'm a parent, so I get it from both angles. Our building leadership teams within each building, and then also our district level leadership team, which I do get the privilege of serving on as well. So leadership, if you ask people in Pratt, many of us would say we have the best superintendent in the state. He was my former principal at Liberty, and he has been our superintendent. This will be year 2. So he got his first superintendent job, and then COVID hit, and he battled us through that hard year and is getting ready to start year 2. So hopefully we're hoping that it's a little bit easier for him. We have a great school board that always thinks about our kids first and does whatever they can for staff and students to help us be the most successful. Our local businesses in a small community are very involved in our school and always willing to give and help and help our kids. We also have a really successful Chamber of Commerce. Our principals and our administration is fantastic and help us along the way. Parents and donors also lead by example and help when they can. And then we have a big group of experienced teachers that guide us younger teachers through the challenges and of public education. The economic conditions in Pratt has an unemployment rate of 2.5%. Its job market has increased by 0.9% in the last year. Our hospital is huge for a small community and continues to grow. We have a median income in our community of $52,327. Our poverty rate is 11.2%. 48% of our students are free and reduced, and our community population and enrollment is growing. Our political structure, our school board and our superintendent have the best interest of students in mind always, as I've said a couple times. Our school board trusts our superintendent to do what's best long-term for our schools, and our school staff is involved in community, and we're seen as leaders. Our town is small enough that everybody knows that we're teachers, and wherever we go, we try to lead by example. Our city commissioners also have a large pull as far as community decisions, so they're ones that we can also go to when decisions need to be made. Social tensions in Pratt. I think the biggest one that came to my mind first was the tension between two small districts. Many of you may not know there's actually two districts in a town of around 7,000 people. Skyline Schools is a 1-2A school just on the outskirts of Pratt, and they are K through 12 as well. So you have Pratt and Skyline. You've got two schools within probably maybe 2 miles of each other. But I think most of the tension there is mostly driven by the adults in town. A lack of effective communication at times causes some tensions within our community. And I sometimes feel like new families struggle to find their place here in Pratt because there's a lot of people in Pratt that have been born and raised here, or born, raised, and then left and came back. So I think new families struggle to find their place. And then, of course, the differences in economic status. You have some very highly successful individuals here. You have your blue-collar families, and then you have your impoverished families. So that can cause some issues from time to time. Previous community efforts. This is some things that are going on right now. We're getting ready to build and construct a new pool that should be ready next summer. We're also beginning talks. We have what I would consider four buildings here in the district, one elementary, one middle, one high, and then we turned our old high school into our administrative offices and our preschool. They're talking about maybe renovating that with a bond issue and moving potentially 3rd through 5th grade to that old high school or to our current administration building, but the beginning talks of that are just breaking the ice, so I'm not sure if there's any more information on that. We're also supposed to be constructing a dog park in town, which I would love to have, but I'm not really sure what the status of that is, and to be honest, no one seems to know. Power structure. So much of what we do and why we do it comes from either the state or their state politics or from KSDE. We always hear news from Topeka and we're getting more funding or they're taking funding away. So I think there's constantly a power struggle between what we need here in Pratt versus what our state department is willing to give us and to help us with. Our Board of Education works to enhance our schools, and they do an exceptional job here in town. Our superintendent always focuses on what's best for kids, and it trickles down from there, from principals to teachers to support staff, and then to key stakeholders who are willing to invest in our schools and in our students. We don't really have a lot of multicultural issues here because we just aren't very diverse. I mentioned our Hispanic population, which we're seeing more and more Hispanics come into our district. We've added some ESL support staff to work to weave in the culture into our buildings district-wide. And that's it, I think. Yeah, is that the last one? So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something about Pratt. I know I did. Oh, there it is. I knew there was another one. Sorry. There's a great public opinion. I think the majority of people, if you were to ask them, Pratt, they would say Pratt is a great place. It's full of pride for our schools specifically. The greenback is kind of an uncommon thing, and we like to, I don't know, sell our uncommon greenback traits and who we are, and just be prideful in what we have here in such a small community. We do conduct a parent survey each summer, but I'm not necessarily sure if I would consider it a public opinion survey. It's more of a how do parents feel about our schools rather than how does the public feel about our schools. Okay, now I think that's it. Sorry about that at the end there, but hopefully you learned something about Pratt. I thought this assignment was fun to get to share about my hometown and just learn about the community in general. So thank you guys.